Forecasters said Tropical Storm Nate was likely to reach the U.S. Gulf Coast as a hurricane over the weekend, after being blamed for at least 21 deaths in Nicaragua, Honduras and Costa Rica. The storm had maximum sustained winds of 50 miles per hour by Friday morning and was likely to strengthen over the northwestern Caribbean before a possible strike on the Cancun region at the tip of the Yucatan Peninsula and near hurricane strength. Officials in Louisiana and Mississippi declared states of state of emergency, and Louisiana ordered some people to evacuate coastal areas and barrier islands ahead of Nate's expected landfall on Saturday night or early on Sunday, potentially close to New Orleans. Dozens of offshore oil and gas platforms and drilling rigs in the Gulf of Mexico were evacuated. The U.S. Bureau of Safety and Environmental Enforcement said in a news release that workers had been evacuated from 66 Gulf production platforms as of late Friday morning. That was nearly 9% of the 737 manned platforms in the Gulf. The Bureau also said 5 drilling rigs had been evacuated and 11 other rigs had been moved out of the path of the storm. An estimated 71% of the Gulf's current oil production and 53% of its natural gas production has been shut in, or temporarily halted, due to the storm. Offshore facilities will be inspected for damage once Nate passes. The U.S. National Hurricane Center (NHC) issued a hurricane warning from Grand Isle, Louisiana, to the Alabama-Florida border and warned that Nate could raise sea levels by 4 feet to 7 feet from Morgan City, Louisiana, to the western edge of Florida. Mississippi said it would open 11 evacuation shelters in areas away from the immediate coast, with buses available for people who could not drive. In Louisiana, the governor, John Bel Edwards, declared a state of emergency and mobilized 1,300 National Guard troops. New Orleans officials outlined steps to bolster the city's pump and drainage system, weaknesses in which were revealed during summer flash floods. 15 National Guard troops were headed to the city to monitor the pumping system. With forecasts projecting landfall in southeast Louisiana as a Category 1 hurricane, Edwards urged residents to ready for rainfall, storm surge and severe winds, and to be where they intend to hunker down by dark on Saturday. Nate is forecast to move quickly, he said, rather than stall and drop tremendous amounts of rain on the state. State officials hope that will mean New Orleans will not run into problems with its pumps being able to handle the water. Edwards, however, warned against underestimating the storm. Officials ordered the evacuation of part of the coastal St. Bernard Parish east of New Orleans. On Thursday, a voluntary evacuation was called in the barrier island town of Grand Isle, south of New Orleans. On Friday morning, the storm was located about 125 miles east-southeast of the Mexican resort island of Cozumel and had accelerated its north-northwest movement to 21 miles per hour. In Nicaragua, Nate's arrival followed 2 weeks of near-constant rain that had left the ground saturated and rivers swollen. Authorities placed the whole country on alert and warned of flooding and landslides. The vice president, Rosario Murillo, said at least 11 people died due to the storm. On Thursday, she had said 15 people died, before saying some of those were still counted as missing. She did not give details on all the deaths, but said 2 women and a man who worked for the health ministry were swept away by a flooded canal in the central municipality of Juagalpa. Costa Rica's Judicial Investigation Department blamed 7 deaths on the storm and said 15 people were missing. Flooding drove 5,000 into emergency shelters. In Honduras, there were 3 dead and 3 missing, according to Oscar Triminio, spokesman for the country's firefighters. Damage caused by the storm prompted Costa Rican officials to postpone a World Cup qualifying soccer match between that country and Honduras, scheduled for Friday night.